Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is probably my fourth video going up today, so it's been a busy morning for me, but in this one we're talking about the Nets offseason preview. In terms of their coach hiring, I really like Jacques Vaughn. I feel like he's done a great job with this team. They're playing hard for him, and it seems like they want to win for him. They exceeded expectations in the bubble, and I feel like this guy is deserving of a head coaching job in the NBA from what we saw from him. So, if not the Nets, I hope some team will give him a job. I feel like it likely won't be the Nets because I feel like they're going to want a name brand, well-known coach like a Ty Lue or Mark Jackson, Jason Kidd. Well, probably not Jason Kidd because he's coached them in the past already, and it might be a little weird if they bring him back. But there's a couple options that I could see them going with. In terms of the draft, they have the 19th pick. I think this is most likely going to get traded for a veteran player. But if it doesn't, they could draft a backup point guard. I think Cole Anthony could drop here. I just don't think he's that good of a player. But it might be good for him if he's in a spot where there's already stars, so he can just be a microwave off the bench, get them buckets. And then maybe Theo Maledon could be a backup point guard option. Trey Jones, Tyrell Terry, all three of those guys could fall in this kind of area in the draft. Late first round. Maxey might fall to here also. I'm not really sure which one of those guys I like the best yet. Trey Jones obviously is proven. Tyrell Terry can shoot it, which the Nets at least valued in the bubble. They took 53s in their game yesterday. And if Jacques Vaughn returns as the coach, that might be something that's very important to them. So Tyrell Terry could fit in there. And Trey Jones just has the proven winning pedigree. So, yeah, a couple possibilities there. Some trades they could make. Obviously, the thing most people are talking about is a package for a star. And the package they could put together really depends on what type of star it is. If it's like a Zach LaVine, Drew Holiday, DeMar DeRozan level type of guy, I think they could probably just give up Karis LeVert and Jared Allen to make those deals work. However, I'm not a big fan of those. I'm not really sure that they should even trade LeVert at all because I think that he's going to be a star one day. I think he's got top 15 NBA player potential. But obviously this isn't the best situation for him because he won't be able to have the ball in his hands all the time. So maybe they'll bring him off the bench. I actually like that idea quite a bit. They probably have one of the best benches in the NBA with Dinwiddie, LeVert, and Jared Allen or DeAndre Jordan, one of those two, all coming off the bench if they just stand pat with their roster as it is now. So that's a possibility. Otherwise, they could make this kind of trade. I think LaVine giving up LeVert and Allen, that's a pretty even trade, I'd say. I think I would do that if I was both teams. Holiday, I don't think he's a big enough improvement over LeVert, although his defensive chops are pretty good. So maybe they do it just to get a stopper to slot alongside KD and Kyrie. Buddy Hield is another possibility, but I wouldn't want to give up both of those guys, just one of them. Maybe Karis LeVert for Buddy Hield works just because Buddy brings more of that shooting aspect, which works better for surrounding the superstars. So that's a possibility. And I don't like the idea of them trading for DeRozan because he just doesn't have a very good shot profile and he needs the ball in his hands a lot. So I feel like they should stay away from that if the Spurs end up putting him on the trading block if he opts into his player option. But for a player of the caliber of Bradley Beal, Rudy Gobert, who I'm still not sure is on the trading block, but could be, and then Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, if they end up getting traded, although as I said today, I don't think they will or should be. Then the package would probably consist of LeVert, Allen, Dinwiddie, and maybe the first round pick that they have as well. For Bradley Beal, I feel like that's a trade they should do just because he's a scorer. However, I'm not sure that the Wizards are ready to do that yet. That remains to be seen. Ben Simmons, that's an easy yes if I'm the Nets. And for the Sixers, are they getting enough back? Like I said, I'm a big believer in Karis LeVert, so I think so. I think that's a good trade as well. However, that's only if the Sixers want to trade Simmons. If they don't want to trade Simmons, that no way. For Embiid, I don't know. I think that the Sixers are more likely to trade Simmons still, but I don't think they're going to trade either one. So both small likelihoods. Gobert, I don't think the Nets should do that. I just don't think a defensive center impacts winning enough to make that kind of trade for your young talent. Then maybe they could trade one of Karis LeVert or Jared Allen for Aaron Gordon, Gary Harris, Robert Covington, someone like that. Aaron Gordon and Gary Harris obviously have been in trade rumors since their teams just are really talented in the positions they play. However, with Aaron Gordon, Jonathan Isaac's injury, so Gordon may not be traded anymore. The likelihood of that definitely went down. Gary Harris could be if the Nuggets want to avoid trouble with the salary cap. And he's probably a better fit than LeVert as a 3-and-D guy. So I think straight up trade, maybe they could get the Nuggets to throw in a second round pick or two. But that's a good trade for them. Robert Covington also, I don't know this for sure, but I feel like he hasn't performed well for the Rockets and he's kind of fallen out of favor with D'Antoni. Who knows if D'Antoni's going to be back, but that could be another guy that they could trade for. Free agency, outgoing, they have Joe Harris and Wilson Chandler. Wilson Chandler, I don't really think they care about, but Joe Harris is just such a good player, and he's a good fit next to KD and Kyrie, so I think they're going to try to do what they can to bring him back. This team's pretty close to capped out, so I'm not sure if they'll be able to, but if they can, they definitely should. Some other targets, or what their targets should be, I think Joe Harris is number one for sure, but otherwise, a replacement for him could be like Langston Galloway or Marco Bellinelli. Just two guys that can shoot the ball and space the floor around KD and Kyrie. And then like Mo Harkless would be another perfect signing for them, for their mid-level exception, just because good defender, can shoot the ball a little bit, and will be pretty cheap. So I think next year their potential rotation could be Kyrie. If there is no trade that happens, if I were them, I would bring LeVert off the bench because that's the best way to optimize his scoring potential. So play him 26, 27 minutes a night off the bench alongside Dinwiddie, and you have a great scoring backcourt off the bench there. So if I were them, I would start Kyrie Irving, Joe Harris, Kevin Durant, Taurean Prince at the 4, and then DeAndre Jordan / Jared Allen at the 5, whichever one they prefer. And then off the bench, you would have that other center, Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, and I like Garrett Temple. I think they should pick up their $5 million team option on him, although they may not be able to if they want to retain Joe Harris. But I think he's a good backup point guard, and I'd like to see them hang on to him. I think that team could definitely, that 9-man rotation could definitely contend for a championship, and they would definitely be a top team in the East, alongside the Bucks and Raptors, I'd say, and the Celtics. So a top 4 seed in the East, but definitely a team with maybe the best shot at winning the finals out of the entire NBA. That team could just be really good. And if they make a trade for, we'll say Bradley Beal in this situation, then their rotation would be Kyrie Irving, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Taurean Prince, and DeAndre Jordan as the starting lineup, with Jared Allen, Garrett Temple, and then some free agent guys, so maybe like Mo Harkless and Langston Galloway coming off the bench. That's assuming they wouldn't be able to re-sign Joe Harris if they had another max contract guy on their roster. So, once again, yeah, that definitely would be a championship contender. Obviously, the depth goes away if you make a trade for a star. So, you give up a little to get back a little in that way, get rid of some depth to add some star power. And I personally think that unless it's a perfect deal for them, they should not pull the trigger and just hang on to their young core that they have, because KD and Kyrie might be gone in KD as a player option after 2 seasons, and Kyrie could be gone after 3. So they should, in my opinion, keep this young core around, keep the depth, and try to win a championship next season, because the way their roster is currently constructed, I definitely think they can. It all comes down to Karis LeVert's fit. Obviously, I kind of like that idea of trading him for Buddy Hield, so if they could get that done, I think that would be good. Otherwise, Gary Harris is another solid option. I think both the Nuggets and the Kings would love to add LeVert to their young cores. Maybe he fits in better with the Kings than the Nuggets, just because he's the Nuggets already have Jamal Murray and Jokic and Michael Porter Jr., players that need the ball in their hands, whereas the Kings kind of could use a secondary scoring option. So lots of directions the Nets could go in this offseason. I think the key first is finding their coach similar to the Sixers, and then from there, figure out the direction you want to take the team in. Like I said, I think this team is a championship favorite next season, and it'll be interesting to see what their roster looks like at the beginning of the 2020-2021 season. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me. I will see you again very, very soon.